Was there a big threat? How did they keep the North Koreans coming into Seoul? What was the defense in the middle of a big city?
You mean now or then?
Well, now.
When you went.
Now it's just basically, they're just posturing.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
But before, how did they do it? Well, here's what happened. This is a city part. Right, isn't that wonderful? And Pyongyang is up here, the North Korean capital. It's really weird. They built all these big buildings, and nothing's in them. They have that crazy dictator up there. What's his name?
Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong-il.
The giant twin.
How many saw Team America? You know all about them, right? That's him to the T. I don't care if it was a parody. It's him to the T. He's crazy. We're fighting him now by cutting off iPods to Korea.
He's crazy. Does he teach at PCC?
He's really crazy. No, he was a student here in this class. So anyway, that guy's crazy. He's really crazy. But
Worse than you?
one day, the Russians decide to send 10 armored divisions into South Korea, and they take it all over except a little area over here. We saw it. Well, what about the army of South Korea? There was no army. The U.S. troops had occupied it at the end of the war, which is a Japanese territory, and they had 250 advisors and 10,000 Korean privates. So, 250 advisors, 10,000 privates, and the North Koreans had 10 divisions, which is how much? Just 10,000, 100,000 men? Yeah, roughly 100,000 men against the 5 or the 10,000 privates, 10 to 1. So, all the allies get pushed back to here, and so MacArthur and actually another general decide to invade Icheon here, push them off balance, and push them way back into North Korea. Then the front goes back and forth and back and forth in the Korean War. General MacArthur has an idea. He's running Japan, and now he's running the war in Korea. And his idea is the North Koreans are being supplied from China, from all these bases just across the river. So MacArthur says, let's attack the Chinese supply bases, and the offensive in North Korea will collapse. And he's right. But President Truman says, no, containment. We don't go into China. If there's a bridge over the river, he says, bomb the Korean half of the bridge, not the Chinese half. Because we're not invading China or any other communist state because of our containment policy. And when MacArthur complained, he was fired. The guy who won World War II in the Pacific and was losing the war in Korea, was kicked out because he wouldn't support containment.
Wait, so why again did we invade North Korea instead of China and everybody else that was communist?
Because
And what the hell are we getting?
Korea was the UN mandate, and we had authority to be in any part of Korea. If we invaded China, that would look like an invasion, an anti-communist invasion,
Right.
and it would set aside all our containment strategy.
Were we getting something special from Korea, like Hyundai or something like that, or
Were we what?
were we getting something special for them, like Kia or Hyundai back then, or
We were,
Samsung?
I love my Samsung TV. We were supporting democracy in the South by putting in the American chosen.
That was absurd.
You've all seen MASH, right? That's about that war.
My Samsung TV.
And they were at Rijunbu,
I got LCD.
which is right next to
Like
Seoul.
LG better.
It's a real place.
LG.
Lucky Gold Star?
Have you been to
Green.
Rijunbu?
Huh?
Both green.
I know. I still like LG better.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Now, the last
Or
time I
Sony
looked, they
panels.
had a big minefield
Sony.
across the
They're
border from
overpriced.
downtown Seoul. Is that
Overrated.
still there? You don't?
I just picked up a
It's
Dell
been
and it
American
sucks.
foreign policy
30-inch.
to not support anti-mine
So I ordered a
treaties
few Sonic.
because they have a minefield on the border of Seoul and North Korea, so they can't be rushed
His-
into. And that's another reason
Brighten this up,
the
brighten this
U.S.
down, and
supports
power on and off.
lines. Three
That's it.
diplomatic quarters that they have. And, well, ask your friends who are there, see what they say. You know what? All the diplomats are screwed up, but all the people on the ground know what's really going on, in most cases. So, that was the Korean War. They finally gave up fighting in 1952. There was an armistice, but there's no treaty. In the South, Sigmund Rhee made everybody work 6.5 days a week to rebuild the country, and they did. And South Korea, although it's not very democratic, they have a fist fight in parliament every week, they shoot a couple of students every month, is one of the 4 great new countries of Asia. And in the north, they're starving. They're eating grass. They're eating dirt.
Eating grass. Smoking it.
No, they don't have a match to light it. They're eating it. In the south, everybody has, really fast 10 gigabit internet service, all sorts of TVs. I bought my Samsung TV. It's so cool. It's great, scares the crap out of
Rated
the
one of
dog.
the best. It's
Who is he?
Samsung.
Sat there 6
They're
hours.
still making
watching
cell
the
phones.
volleyball. Yeah, she thought they were
They're still
weak
making
on
cell
their
phones.
Samsung TV.
Sony Ericssons, they're good.
Not many Samsung.
Oh, that's what, yeah. They can't beat them, man.
Yes.
Buy that Samsung, I almost threw it out the window, and my friend leaves it at the Kmart parking lot for me.
What is defined by their cultural
Yes.
ethnic group.
That's right.
Is that
But
because
you
they
gotta
have-
remember that Korea was 3 kingdoms with 3 cultures before the Japanese moved in. And that's probably, plus they were just exhausted. The UN was pulling out of the war, and nobody was ever gonna win now. It's as low tech, the Korean War. They had some jets, but that was about it.
So they basically got back up to the 38th parallel on those armistice?
Yeah, that's the armistice line, that's where it is today. Today, there's people living there that are separated from their families. They can look through the fence and see them, 30 feet away. And now the nut up in the north has a TV broadcast every once in a while showing people their relatives in the south. And it's really just a heart-rending, emotional sign. Seeing your brother you haven't been able to talk to or see in 40 years. And there you see him for 10 seconds. And then nothing. And
So they're not allowed to go?
I really hope there's some resolution soon, because it's just tearing at the hearts of the people. It's everyone I've met.
So-
And a lot of them, they sent home as orphans to the United States. We have a big Korean orphan population, white parents, black parents. Really screwed up in some ways and a big success in other ways. Korean War, it all comes from containment.
So it's like a border patrol or?
Well, what's the border like?
The border, basically, you have the North Koreans on one side of the barrier, South Koreans on the other side. And basically, they have like some sort of specific tradition on how to stare down each other. It's basically just a stare down.
Well-
But in addition, they do have the show of the guns and everything else. They usually put the biggest soldiers on each side to show force, like, we got it, we can get together.
And there's a room on the border for peace talks, and they have the soldiers hanging around on each side of the door, all sorts of weird stuff going on there. But the physical border is like a big fence full of barbed wire that's double wide on each side. And so it's not easy. The minefield is so they can't run tanks in and just run it into downtown Seoul, because everything will be blown up. So the U.S. supports mines in Korea, in downtown Seoul, but supposedly nowhere else in the world. Got a big fight with the Princess Diana over that. There's a lot of things the U.S. supports that aren't popular. No kidding. So the long telegram is about containment. And it's the policy that basically worked.
Who was Cannon again?
Cannon was a diplomatic officer in the U.S. Embassy in Moscow.
Oh,
and he studied the Russians.
oh.
And he came, this telegram